So, hi everyone. Welcome to our Tourism Roundtable. I'm Stephanie Immelman. I'm the CEO of the Chamber. And we've been holding off on our Tourism Roundtables till now, to this point this year, because the city has been conducting a tourism master plan. So with that, Sarah Maxfield from the city, Laura Simon from the DDA, and I have been meeting on a weekly basis with Don, who is our tourism master plan consultant, and that's who we're going to hear from today. So we wanted to wait a little bit to get to the point where he had been able to draw some conclusions, and he can tell you about the meeting that took place with the city commission. I think it was in June. So what we're going to do first off is I want to hear from our sponsor today, which is Tarek Salahi from Hotels at Sea, and have him give you a quick update on what's going on in the cruise industry. And he's also got some great insight into the equestrian realm. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Tarek.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for hosting me, and proud to be a sponsor. Well, we have good news in the cruise line industry overall on a global level, especially here in Florida. Nearly the entire fleet between Royal Caribbean and our other partners such as Celebrity and Silver Sea and all the other cruise ships are now sailing and back at sea. And as of this morning, officially the CDC has now lifted all restrictions for cruising, meaning the cruise ship industry has the right to allow non-vaccinated passengers on board if they wish. That is up to each company individually. But you will start seeing changes happen, which means you will start seeing an increase in tourism back to the state of Florida from abroad and from within the United States coming to sail back on our ships. So things are getting, if you will say, back to normal for us. But we're really proud that every ship is now back in the water and at sea. And that's, it's been 2 years, but we're proud we're there. We're not sailing at full capacities on all ships. The smaller cruise programs such as 3 and 4 night sailings are sailing full, but the longer sailings are not yet sailing at full capacity, but that's evolving and changing. So we are underway. And with that said, with our partnership with the equine community, both here in Florida and abroad, we are actively promoting tourism to Florida and to obviously stay pre and post cruises when they come to Florida. And these programs have already started. And we're proud to say we just won a historic 1935 historic cup, one of the oldest cups in the country, just last weekend, which brought a lot of great news again to our community here in Delray Beach, since we're based here in Palm Beach County in Delray Beach. So another big feather in our cap, and proud we won that national tournament just last week. So that's the brief recap, and we're back in business in the cruise line industry.
That's good news. My question to you was, you answered it, was what's the capacity? So it sounds like it's a good time if you want to take a long cruise to go now. The ships won't be too crowded. Take a long one, maybe not to Europe, but a long cruise right now would be a good idea.
This would be a great time to get on it now, especially now with all these changes that are happening. The transatlantic cruises are sailing generally between 50 to 75% occupancy, and those would be some enjoyable ones. Of course, we have the new Celebrity Beyond that will be coming back to Florida, and we'll be doing her naming ceremony here in Florida. That is the latest and greatest ship, and probably the most luxurious ship in the world. And she was built during, finished up during COVID. So, interesting times for us, and in many ways, times for us to start celebrating that tourism for us is back, and we're looking forward to seeing those changes happening too, with things being relaxed on the vaccinations for passengers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I traveled recently abroad, and on the plane they said, okay, masks off, you don't have to wear them anymore, and you didn't have to get your test on the way back into the US. So that was really nice. So things have opened up, but Europe's a little hot right now for them. So thank you, Tarek. Thanks for giving us a quick update.
Pleasure. Thanks for hosting us, and proud to be a partner.
Thank you. So I want to turn it over to Laura Simon of the DDA, and she's going to give us a quick update on the DDA's tourism efforts recently, and maybe you can give us some insight to what's happening this summer.
Fantastic. Well, good morning, everybody. First, I want to introduce with me today is our new strategic marketing manager, Suzanne Boyd, who has recently joined our organization as of May and is on board and doing a fantastic job for us so far. So she's going to actually, I'm going to turn it over here to a minute, but I also see my other longstanding employee, which is BJ Scalar, who is our Visitor Information Center superstar, running our Visitor Information Center. For all of you who maybe don't know, we operate and manage and oversee the Visitor Information Center that is located on A1A and Atlantic Avenue. And it is a accredited visitor tourism information center that has been in the DDA's management world since 2005. And then in 2018, we renovated the facility, which is was formerly the lifeguard substation, but that was done in 2005. And then in 2018, we had a new renovation of that and hired BJ to come on and really step up to make a full concierge service of that in our facility. So she does a great job and is seeing, as far as summer traffic, seeing a bit of a dip, as we all are seeing in tourism for summer this year comparatively to last year. Tourism down from what we're seeing locally in downtown in Delray, somewhere in over 40 to 50% in some areas. So it is a significant change compared to 2021. But 2021 was obviously a stellar year for everyone. But we are working hard as an organization because it is our responsibility as the Downtown Development Authority is charged to really drive economic development and economic vitality to our downtown. All of our majority of our tourism assets are here. Our hotels are here. We have a resort village by the sea. So our organization has led the efforts in with the chamber and the city. We started this coming out of the pandemic to really invest in our marketing efforts to rebound and recover as a destination for when as we reopen. So we invested a lot of time and talent and resources into developing a new marketing campaign. So I'm going to send that over to Suzanne because she's going to share some slides just real quick of what our campaign looked like, results, and where we're headed for this summer and into the fall. Suzanne, you want to jump in? You're on mute.
Hi, everyone. How are you today? All right, so I'm going to share my screen. And okay, let me get to this. Okay. Can everyone see this? Good? Okay. All right, so the Delray Beach Tourism Marketing Plan, we just sort of wanted to give everyone an overview of what is already being done in the Delray Beach tourism marketing world right now. And this was created or started in January of 2021. Let's see. Okay. So this is a look at the brand that was created by the RFP that we put out for creating a new look and a feel for Delray Beach. There were 4 main components of this campaign or this creative campaign: new brand logos, new fonts, new color palette, and a whole different photography style. And you can kind of get the feel for what was created, that fun, coastal, classy. We really wanted it to feel like the vibe that is Delray Beach. And so we created several different logos using the Village by the Sea promotion and also downtown Delray Beach. Our brand fonts were changed. Our photography style, we did multiple photography and video shoots to create this really cool vibe that is Delray Beach. And then the color palette as well, sort of those atmospheric feeling settings, colors that really feel like Delray Beach. Okay, so this is a look at where it was deployed. We had co-op advertisements with the Palm Beaches, branch up ad partnership with Visit Florida. We did a ton of digital ads, Google, Facebook, and Instagram ads, and you can see some of what was done there. The getaway guide that was deployed at all the Florida visitor centers. We had the big City of Delray Beach billboard that was part of this campaign. We also had a billboard at Fort Lauderdale Airport and in Dundas Square, which is in Toronto. And you can see the same sort of that find your fun, you know, you deserve a vacation, that this whole concept was deployed across multiple different marketing channels. And this is a look at the reach of that campaign. We had 2.5 million digital impressions, 10.5 million print, digital, and out-of-home impressions, and about 15,000 visits to the website, our average click-through rate. The website traffic increased exponentially when we launched this campaign. And this was the visitdelraybeach.org website, and also downtowndelraybeach.com. And then this summer, what we did to sort of keep this ball rolling was we enlisted the help of Scott Eddy, who is a travel expert. He came in town and did a Delray digital takeover to kick off our summer social media marketing campaign. This was really a threefold campaign. We wanted to target locals for the summer, engaging our local and South Florida audience. We have nearly 100,000 followers on all of our different digital channels. And then reach Scott Eddy's luxury travel audience, so a national target, which is nearly 1 million followers. And then we also wanted to create beautiful content for our businesses and partners. So what we did was we enlisted our businesses and partners to host Scott Eddy in the downtown Delray area for about 2.5 weeks. He did everything from boxing to eating to spas to all the different things in downtown Delray, and really kind of highlighted our community. We saw a significant jump in our followers, our reach, and in our engagement. And this is good for Delray Beach because not only did it increase our followers, our reach, and our engagement on all of our digital channels, it gave consistent daily brand exposure for Delray. It created that beautiful content for our marketing efforts and also added value for partners and businesses. It gave them a ton of content for their digital channels as well. So what's next? Well, we are working right now on the 2022-2023 guidebook, which is going to use a lot of the same creative moving forward. We are updating our look and voice on social media to make sure it fits these brand guidelines. Right now, we have a bunch of digital ads running using this look as well. The find your fun like a local is really what we're going after right now, because we're really targeting locals for the summer. We've got ads running on Google, Facebook, and YouTube. We're also running event ads for Art and Jazz on the Ave. And then moving forward, we're also looking to make sure that this look is integrated into all of our channels, website, all of our social media channels, all of our digital channels, so that it's a cohesive look for Delray Beach. And then this is a look at the investment breakdown. The Downtown Development Authority obviously spent the lion's share of the budget for this investment breakdown. We got some money also from the City of Delray Beach moving forward on this, but it was a comprehensive campaign, and we hope to continue to use these elements moving forward. It really does give a cohesive look to our marketing efforts.
So just to jump in, thanks, Suzanne. So just to jump in real quick and close this. So this was a partnership with the city, the chamber, and the DDA. DDA has hefty marketing budget. The information and creative is all shared. The chamber did take over some of the logos and the creative and do their destination guide and integrate it into that. So it's more of a in-kind support from the chamber team and the marketing efforts versus a financial support, but it is working to just how we move forward as we go into this and creating some synergies going forward. And you'll hear more from Don as he rolls out his findings from the tourism master plan, I'm sure. But thank you. And I know we've got a big agenda. So thanks, Stephanie.
Okay, thanks so much. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to Don, who's worked diligently on this tourism master plan, and he's going to take you through all the work that we've done in the past 6 months or so. More than that.
About a year now.
Yeah,
So,
every week.
you all can see my screen, I assume?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what you're going to see this morning is a duplicate of what was presented back in June, as Stephanie referenced, to the City Commission. Julie Cassell, who's one of the commissioners, suggested that we have a workshop with City Commission to review the findings. So we had that meeting, and it was very positive. They had some feedback which we've incorporated. So the agenda today, you can see on the screen, we're going to cover a number of different subject matters. So I always like to start off, why are we even doing this? And what was the methodology and the timeline associated with it? So first, it creates a blueprint, what we refer to for optimizing tourism. Tourism, as you know, is the second largest driver of the economy in Palm Beach County. We built a business case, which I'll share with you in a second, in terms of what that economic impact is on an annual and daily basis for Delray. We had, I think, 76 different stakeholders that raised their hand. And it's, I think if nothing else, we've aligned the stakeholders in terms of educating them on the power of tourism, what our current strategies are, and what our future vision is going downstream. Clarified roles and responsibilities. You've got 3 partners: the city, the chamber, and the DDA. Who's doing what to whom. It also helps us prioritize what the different strategies and tactics are for 2023, and then enhances again the overall knowledge of the benefits of tourism. We had in January of this year a work session with each of the committees. They generated 196 different questions relative to tourism. So in my view, there was an information gap that each of the partners are heads down executing the plan, but I think there was an opportunity to share what they've done and what their visions are for the future. So strategic rationale, the city has a comprehensive plan. This links back to it in a number of different ways. The city currently does not have a strat plan, which is something that we always try and tie into because it creates momentum. For every 100 tourists, you've heard me say, it creates 1 job. So, we partnered with CareerSource and Whiteco to help us, identify qualified candidates for making sure that we're filling those open positions within the city. It also has a residual effect of the quality of life of residents. So whether it's the new Delray marketplace, or whether it's the new hotels that have opened, this all has a rippling effect to the quality of life of residents. Generates incremental property taxes for new assets coming on board, and then creates competitive advantage. So when we did the SWOT analysis, the number 1 area that came up in terms of weaknesses was competition from the other 38 cities within the county. So currently there's 4 cities that are executing tourism master plans. And again, Delray Beach is providing that leadership to embrace tourism and determine how do we really grow the tourism economy. It supports community development in terms of How do we, expand businesses? How do we ensure that we retain businesses? And then, historically, as you saw in 2021, the tourism sector, benchmarking against 2008, 2009, is more resilient. So you saw that we took I think it was a 43% dip in terms of tourism when the pandemic hit, and we've recovered currently 96% of where we were in 2019. And from what I hear, 2022 is going to be another banner year exceeding 2019 visitation numbers. And that drives economic value. So the business case we put together was basically assuming that our fair share of the hotel room inventory would correlate to the fair share of visitors to the destination. So we're estimating a little over 700,000 visitors are coming to Delray Beach. So at a economic impact of $900 direct and indirect, or $450 per visit direct, comes out to be $876,000 in terms of economic impact on a daily basis. And the reason we do these business cases is, as we're going after capital and funding and resources, this basically stacks up against other requests for funding. So the project methodology, 12-step process, took us a little longer than a normal engagement, but we wanted to invest the right and appropriate amount of time to make sure that we crossed every T and dotted every I. So the timeline, again, we started back in October, putting together the task force, and then we just had our task force meeting in July, which was the first Friday of each month. So the key accomplishments as we kind of look back in the rearview mirror of this project is, again, we had 76 organizations that were linked to tourism that raised their hand that were part of the task force. We had 8 different tourism committee meetings. We had 10 guest speakers, and part of the byproduct of this initiative was to, again, educate everyone that was involved on the power of tourism. And that's why we brought in subject matter experts talk about their respective areas, whether it was Glenn Jurgensen from the TDC or whether it was Visit Florida. We wanted to bring in that level of intellect. We did the SWOT analysis. We dissected 587 different responses from the task force. I mentioned in January, 196 questions were asked, and all this came in, and we created what was kind of like a Wikipedia, if you will. We call it a knowledge support system of all the key information that we've assembled. So whether it was the 196 questions with the responses, excuse me, or the SWOT analysis, all that was in one document that can be shared as we go forward. We engaged Palm Beach State College to look at tourism assets external to the DDA boundaries along with the chamber. And then the task force created 59 specific recommendations. And then I had one-on-one interviews with city staff, the mayor, the CRA, the DDA, and chamber board. So what we wanted to do is to parcel out, if you will, what those respective visions were. And to my amazement, there was 100% alignment on every call. So let's take a look at what the highlights of the one-on-one interviews were. And again, here are the different people that were interviewed by different organizations. So the interview highlights were, yes, they understand tourism is strategically important. This kind of duplicated an effort that was done a couple years back by FIU, where they looked at all the different business sectors within the destination, and true to form, the tourism came out to be the second, as is the case with the TDC. Tourism should be optimized for the entire city. And this is kind of a major right-hand turn, because the DDA has done an excellent job, but they're hyper-focused on their boundaries. That is basically, part of their rules of engagement. So we've got other assets, and some of them are in unincorporated areas, such as Murakami, which gets 300,000 visitors per year. You've got the Delray Marketplace up by 441. So again, as we're thinking about tourism strategically, the vision from the key stakeholders was that we should be optimizing for the entire city versus just the downtown. We also want to keep the visitors within the destination. When I was with Discover the Palm Beaches, I had 12 visitor information centers, and we basically were promoting the county. So what we agreed to is that we want to keep the visitor within the destination. We aren't being funded by the county to provide recommendations to visitors to Delray Beach to go out to Lion Country Safari. And the reason for that is we want them to spend that $900 per visit in direct and indirect economic value within the confines. So it's kind of geofencing, if you will, everything there is to do within the destination, and really creating these experience maps that say, hey, if I'm here with the kids for a week, here's an itinerary for you. If I'm here with a girls' weekend out, here's an itinerary. If I'm here on a business meeting and I want to stay over a day or two, here's an itinerary for you. So again, Delray Beach has got all of the assets from a tourism perspective. Water cells, they've got the ocean, they've got the intercoastal. So there is so much to do. It's really kind of playing GPS, if you will, for these visitors to help them discover everything there is to do. So if you were doing exit interviews of visitors and you asked the question, well, why do you keep on coming back to Delray Beach? The response ideally would be, they optimize my time. They take me off the beaten path rather than taking me to the seafood bar at the Breakers. They're showing me where different food trucks are on a Friday night. So additional capital, the next one is the city's economic development department should lead the tourism strategy. And right now it's a partnership with the DDA, if you will, driving the bus. And what the stakeholders are saying is that we need to continue the partnership, expand the partnership, embrace the partnership, but we need resource at a city level because this is a strategic initiative to help drive that. The city understands that there's a need for additional human capital and financial resources to implement the plan. So this is going back to my initial comment about, we've developed the blueprint. Now it's time to build it out, and we need resources. And then we think that there's an opportunity to engage residents to support tourism. Again, population is around 70,000 people. Visit Florida recently did some research that said, hey, how many of the 22 million people that live in the state actually recommend their friends and family to come to the state? It's 4 out of 10, but the headline is 89% take rate. So we've got a built-in sales force that, especially during the, heard Laura say that, during the summer months, there's a significant dip. The vision is to, develop a destination marketing plan, but really have it month by month. And how do you engage residents to invite friends and family to come and join us in August? It's hot on Long Island. It's hot here. But again, we've got the beach, we've got the intercoastal, we've got restaurants, we've got hotel space. So again, we think to educate the residents on the power of tourism and then also engage them with offers such as stay 3 nights at the Opal, get the 4th night free. So the tourism partnerships, we went over for the city council, the kind of a template. What were the missions, the funding, the boundaries, governance, staffing, and marketing for each of the partners? So you're familiar with, what the city does. They're maintaining, somebody's got to maintain the beach, keep it clean. Somebody's got to maintain 56 different parks, so they're contributing, if you will, to tourism. Next is the chamber. They do a lot of work. They don't have any dedicated staff focused at tourism, but they're, Delray Affair is a perfect example of something that, they're a sponsor of that drives tourism. Then the last is the DDA. DDA has an operating budget of around $1.4 million, if memory serves me, and again, or 1.2, I guess it is. They've got 6 team members, and they're hyper-focused on driving activity to those organizations that are within that downtown footprint. So tourism asset analysis. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to identify all the tourism assets. We wanted to segment them by business sector, And then identify improvement opportunities, create momentum to drive incremental economic value. So what you see here is a map of Delray Beach by zip code, and the red outlined area is the city boundaries. So, and then you've got the zip codes identified as well. So what we did is we went in and we looked at the DDA, leveraging the content within the DDA website. Turns out there's over 400 different organizations that are within their boundaries. We then, so if we look at the analysis, you've got around, over 50% are, restaurants, bars, and shopping. We then went to the city and said, okay, here's the city footprint. And what we've done is we partnered with Palm Beach State College, and they went in to just the one zip code, 33445, and we identified, keeping in mind that the DDA's western boundary is really I-95. So you've got 198 or 178 additional tourism assets that aren't on anyone's radar screen. So if you did this similar analysis, around 40% are related to shopping, restaurants, and bars. Then we've asked the chamber, Stephanie, through her leadership, to kind of look at other outlying zip codes. We talked about the Delray Marketplace out by the tollway. They've got 59 different assets that aren't being promoted. And from a visitor standpoint, visitors don't know really what city they're in. Is this unincorporated? Is this incorporated? Is this within the county limits? So they really don't pay attention to it. So we think strategically there's an opportunity, really any asset with a Delray Beach mailing address are fair game for promoting our destination. So if it's rainy in August, I got 2 kids and we're stuck in the hotel, the Delray Marketplace has a bowling alley and a theater. Well, right now, we're not marketing that as an asset. And we think that there's an opportunity again to take more of a holistic approach. And then, we looked up north of the boundaries of 33483, and there was another 51 different tourism assets. So if we kind of push the total button, you've got around 60% of the assets within the DDA. You've got another 33% within the city limits, and you got another 10% outside. So overall, when someone says, well, how many tourism assets do you have within the destination? My response is, close to 700. So now we get into the meat of the presentation. And what we did is we had 59 unique recommendations, and we asked the task force to rank them from high to low. We got an excellent response. 46 people responded, 61% response rate. And then we presented, because of time limitations, the top 5 recommendations for each of the 4 committees that we created, because we wanted them to be committee centric. And so in the appendix of this deck, which Stephanie has, which she either will or has sent out this deck, you've got a list of all of the 59 different recommendations. So again, the different food groups in terms of committees were marketing and branding, attraction, special events, tourism infrastructure, and structure, finance, and BI. So let's take a look at marketing. So because there is so much to do, we want to enhance the existing processes, similar to what Laura and Stephanie do with their respective visitor information centers, is to educate the people on what there is to do, and again, create these experience scenarios that say, hey, if you're into art and culture, here's a path you might want to take. If you're into ecotourism, here's another path. If you're into golfing, the city has 2 public golf courses. If you're into parks, we've got 56 different parks. So again, it's marketing everything there is to do. And, based upon other benchmarking, using QR codes as an example to drive people to, this is what's happening in the city this week. So whether it's the Delray Affair or it's something happening at on a Friday night, we can use QR codes to help people from a user friendly perspective, get to that content. Then we talked about developing an annual destination marketing plan. And this is really reverse engineering what we're doing at a city level into what the county is doing and what Visit Florida is doing. So as you know, the TDC has 4 different agencies: Discover, Sports, Film and TV, and Culture. Each of those organizations, which have approximately 100 FTEs, they're estimating their bed tax revenues will be around $70 million for 2022. They've got a lot of resource, they've got a lot of strategies. How do we, if you will, continue to partner with existing programs, but even taking it to the next level, how do we as a customer of the county really define what our business needs are? Is that business enhanced business intelligence, where they can buy it more cost effectively than we can? So it's really, again, leveraging the momentum of what the county and the state are doing. When we had Visit Florida present, they said, hey, we'll give every one of those 676 different destinations a free listing on our website. All you have to do is fill out a form. So there's things that we can do, that what I refer to as low-hanging fruit, that we can pick off short term and create that momentum. Develop communication strategies to market the visitors within the destination. Again, we use the example of bounce back programs. If you're staying at a hotel, how do we create an offer, almost like vacation ownership does? It says, hey, come back with your family, here's a reduced rate, or hey, can you extend your length of stay while you're here, by changing your flight, or if you're driving, we've got capacity, we can extend your reservation. We want to also look at the website. We've got feedback that it's not as user-friendly as we would like. So there's best practices out there in terms of what websites currently look like. The website for the DDA is excellent, but how do we take it to 2.0? Create landing pages that highlight those experiences that I referenced earlier. So those are the top 5 in terms of marketing. Events and attractions. There was a need that came up multiple times. It says, hey, you've got 3 organizations doing different special events. We need one calendar for all the events, and we need it to be updated. We need to also look at new revenue sources and sponsors as we're using this as a strategy to drive visitation. We want to identify other locations within the city. Heretofore, we've had a lot of the activity in the downtown area. I mentioned the 56 parks. Is there opportunities to leverage those? And then it's to kind of really create the CRM, contact relationship management database. By you've got all these different events. How do you start capturing, if you will, visitor contact information? I go back to QR codes. It says, hey, register for a 1-week free vacation, just scan this QR code, fill out this template, and you're automatically enrolled. So again, what we want to be able to do is start to talk to people about what their experiences were while they're here. I'm kind of a Nordstrom's guy. Are we exceeding? Are we meeting? Are we falling short of the visitor expectations? In today's environment, we really don't know. We're not asking that key question. So if we're going to create competitive advantage, in my view, we need to be talking to the visitors about what their experiences are, maybe identify experiences that we haven't even thought of that they would be interested in. And then document the process for requesting approval for events. That kind of ties back to the master calendar. So those are the top 5 for events and attractions. Then tourism infrastructure. So I referenced, creating these pre and post stay offers for especially meeting attendees, and 15% of all visitation to Palm Beach County comes from the meeting and business sector. Enhance wayfinding signage, conduct research to determine future needs of lodging capacity. So when I was at Discover the Palm Beaches, we did a supply demand analysis for 6 key markets. Delray Beach was part of that. And that, I think, was an instigator on why the New Hampton Inn is being built. So as we start to continue to build out the visitation profile, do we have enough hotel space? So downstream 2023, 2024, we should go back and kind of take a look at that. And again, it's it's really becoming more scientific in terms of visitor acquisition. A New Yorker on average stays 2 days. A Brazilian stays 11 days, which means I need 5 New Yorkers to compensate for 1 Brazilian. Brazilians, their peak season for us is really in the summer months, so it's an ideal fit. So again, what we want to be able to do is get smarter as we go forward. Determine the visitor needs for enhanced mobility. It's my understanding that the Freebie is being transitioned from the CRA over to the responsibility of the city. So that asset will continue because, again, it creates competitive advantage and it reinforces how easy it is to get around the destination. And then, we've got this whole thing called Airbnb, but, the county, or I really want to say Ann Gannon, doesn't report bed tax revenues by destination. So we think that, again, we've got close to 1,500 hotel rooms within Delray Beach. We think that there's another 300 to 400 shared economy rooms. How do we engage those people who are running those rooms to, again, maybe put point of sale out there, again, use QR codes to, again, educate that segment that might not be staying in a hotel in downtown. Then last is support stakeholders by attracting quote unquote qualified workers. Again, that ranges from servers all the way up to GMs. How do we continue to partner with different entities such as CareerSource and FIU and FAU and Palm Beach State College to draw those candidates in, because that's been one of the biggest challenges in the tourism sector. A lot of people have opted out because of the pandemic. Implement an enhanced tourism dashboard. So the city measures, and it's really the DDA, measuring around 20-25 different KPIs, key performance indicators. We've identified 150 KPIs that could be measured. So you've heard the old adage, if you can't measure it, you can't manage it. So we need to get smarter. One of our task force members said, basically, Don, we're flying blind. We don't have a lot of data that will help us understand how to set future strategies. So this was, number 2, if you will, high priority coming out of this committee. Implement visitor research to capture, we talked about customer satisfaction, visitor satisfaction. Develop communication strategies, again, going back to the residents, educating them on why they might not be able to get their favorite restaurant in January. But, again, if we start to spread out the tourism, if we look for quality, not quantity in terms of visitation, some of this might, be self-corrective. And then create a Delray Beach Tourism Cooperative, which is really led by the city staff and comprised of partners from the DDA, the Chamber, the CRA, with support from the residents and the TDC agencies. So in terms of next steps, the action plan is, and again, I'm presenting this to the city commission. So we wanted to respond to any questions, and they each had comments. A couple of the highlights were, hey, don't forget about sports tourism. Wellington, as an example, is putting together a tourism master plan specifically for sports. So they emphasize that. They also emphasize the cleanliness of the city, because that's kind of the image that a visitor might have of the destination. So a lot of good feedback. Everything was positive. The commission overall is supportive. Integrate direction of feedback, which we've done into the master plan, and then develop an implementation plan that will identify the resources to implement the TMP. And that's share with the DDA chamber boards for feedback, and then provide updates to tourism task force, which we did on July 1st. We're doing that now today with you all. And then my understanding that Sarah Maxfield, who is the Director of Economic Development, will be meeting with the city manager and the assistant city manager for additional direction on August 4th. So we are trying to get this funding, if you will, in place for the fiscal 2023 budget for the destination. So that's kind of a 30,000-foot flyover. So I'll field any questions now on anything I've gone over or have not gone over.
I just want to reiterate something quickly. So you said that Sarah's going to be meeting with the city manager and assistant city manager on August 4th to try to get some direction for funding for further tourism efforts, like developing an implementation plan. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Are you going to be speaking to the city commission again anytime in the future, or is that the meeting that we're waiting to hear about?
Well, we're waiting to find out where the city is, and that meeting was supposed to be this week, but it was pushed to the 4th.
Okay.
So, you know, then we can engage the city commission if it's, you know, appropriate.
Okay. So I want to open it up to questions when we have them. We have a couple of minutes left. So does anyone have any specific questions for Don while we have him here? This is the problem with Zoom. Nobody speaks up. Come on, man. Anyone?
Come on, Peter Ritchie, stump the band. Come on, you can do it.
Okay, well then
I think all the data is amazing. I just it's great. I just, you know, it's super difficult to keep them in one city though. I mean, that's our optimistic dream. But you know, the more we get them to stay on the Ave and spend money in and around the city and go out west, I mean, that venue out west is amazing, but I try to push it here because I live out west on 441, and it's so not normal for people to bring it up when I'm at, you know, near the beach for a meeting. So I agree with you. The more we can do promotion wise and theme wise, the better. But the data is interesting. You know, I chatted with Gustav offline. You know, I wonder how the questions were, how you got such a good response rate, but I won't belabor that here. I just hope it's very accurate, useful data because it's very good.
Yeah, to quick response, we have incentives to encourage participation, and to Sarah Maxfield's credit, you know, she sent 2 or 3 emails per week to get the response rate up to 61%. So that was the highest I've ever experienced. And again, it's really the task force came up with the 59 recommendations. And again, there's some recommendations like leverage the enhanced BDA photography and video. Well, that, even though it didn't make the top 20, it might be number 21. There are things that we can still put a trigger on that came out of this task force. Thanks, Peter.
So I have a quick question for everyone. So we know last summer was unprecedented. There was a lot of pent-up demand. Florida was one of the few places open. We had the best summer that we've ever seen. So it's natural that this summer is not going to be exactly the same. All the destinations are opened up, and even our locals are going further afield. I think half of Delray Beach is in North Carolina right now. So I think that we saw a big up in 21. We're seeing a low in 2022. Do you think it's going to even out? Anyone that's on the call that's in this industry, maybe equilibrialize, is that a word? In 2023, what is it? What are everyone's thoughts?
Gustav.
I can share just the last, was it 4 or 5 weeks for the county in the hotel room demand. It's definitely less than 21, but it's still higher than 2019.
Good.
So
that's
good.
good.
So I see it kind of, it's growing from 2019, but maybe it's normalizing. We had all that pent up demand last year, and now things are, you know, Europe is cheap because the euro is on par with the dollar. So there's probably a lot of outbound there also with the restrictions. You don't have to take a test to come back in the US. Cities like New York and Los Angeles are now recovering. So they're probably taking some of that demand, but it's good to see that from 19, there's definitely growth there. The rates, though, look on the other hand, I think on the mid-scale side, they are cutting. So, but on the luxury side, they seem to be holding pretty steady. So there's, even with travel costs going up, that affluent traveler that wants that luxury experience is still willing to pay for that right now.
That's reassuring news. I'm happy to hear that. We've been worried about that because I think even in July 4th wasn't completely full until the very end. But so we're still better in the 2019, which is good news for our industry. Joe, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a quick one for Don. I'm a member of the chamber, but also a volunteer at the DDA. Maybe BJ, but we see an awful lot of day trippers who are coming from elsewhere in Florida. And so keeping them in town, obviously the one day they're there, we're really focused on, but it's data about single day. And mostly people are coming here, it seems, to see their relatives. Grandma has a condo. My parents have this. I'm visiting my roommate. Someone from Seattle yesterday is visiting her new roommate that just moved to Delray. So there's all those kind of familiar connections. In my experience, most of the people into the visitor center are not staying in the downtown hotels. They're either with or they're with rentals in various. Your point about a little bit of a measure of all these other places people are staying, because you can easily capture the people in the hotels, but it's all these other places they're staying. I think that's, if there's a way to find that out, that'd be great.
That's a super good point. That's VFR, visiting friends and relatives, which is obviously a huge component of our traffic. And we also want to, talk to locals and make sure that locals do something different. That's what we're trying to expand upon in our spring breakfast. It's like, be a tourist in your own town, experience something, don't get in a rut, go to different places, check some new things out. So that's things that we try to push our members to do, especially during the summer. It will help our local businesses for sure.
Don, did you have any data about single day trips?
No, but the key is, and there's a company out there called CTM, which we used to use when I was at Discover, and they're basically, they're take one racks. And this problem or this opportunity is inherent through every city that I'm engaged with, where, you go to the information rack and it's like 2 brochures on what to do in Delray Beach and 48 brochures on what to do outside the destination. So I'm kind of looking at the city as an LLC to say, if I'm going to do an IPO, how do I optimize the economic value of that tourist? Will I not give them directions to Lion Country Safari? No, but I'm not going to make it easy for them to get out of the city, because that's really, I think, this is coming from the city manager, this is the emphasis. And that's the same direction I'm getting from every city is geofence. And I have one client, which will remain nameless, but 80% of the content that they had on their website was promoting other cities within Palm Beach County and really in Broward and Dade. And it's kind of like, you got them here, keep them here, and show them all the beauty that Delray Beach has. So it's more of a strategic conversation. It's different than where we've been.
Yeah. So Laura, go ahead.
I'd like to just share some information so that you're all very aware and comfortable with exactly what we do at the Visitor Center. We have 21 volunteers that work with me. The volunteers go through a 5-hour training process to make sure that they know as much as they can about the different businesses and attractions and events that are coming up. Their goal, and that's what they're trained to do, is that when somebody walks in the door, they do the 5-second, why are you here? How long are you here? Where are you coming from? And what brings you to Delray Beach? We keep a record of that. We have 2 different shifts a day. We're open 9 to 5, obviously. We have 2 people that work each day. And so their information is kept on a sheet that we have a running total on, that we do a monthly report for our DDA board meeting. The most important thing is that when we're in a position to guide them, the first and most important part of what we do is we showcase Delray Beach. We showcase downtown Delray Beach. We have set up the visitor center so that when they're walking in the door, downtown is highlighted first. The visitors and the volunteers are kept abreast of everything that there is to do. So as an example, if somebody walks in the door and they say, I've got 3 kids, what's there to do around here? The volunteers are trained to immediately kick into specifics in our downtown that they can be guiding our visitors to. If people are coming in the door, whether it's grandma with the kids visiting, or if it's tourists staying at the Opal Hotel, they've been trained to make sure that they've got the information at their fingertips of what to do to keep them in Delray Beach first. However, because we are a Visit Florida destination, we do have people that live here full time that use the visitor center, which I think is quite unique. We have residents that come in on a weekly and monthly basis and use our center as a tool of information either for themselves or for their families. So we need to provide a smaller area on things outside of town as requested. If people do come in the door, we want to make sure that we have that information. What we do is we capture their email on a QR code if they would like to keep up to date on events that we have coming up. We showcase our website, downtowndelraybeach.com. We make sure every single person that walks in the door knows about our website and the visitor center and ways that they can find out about different events that are coming up. So we make every effort per Laura Simon and her direction to keep people in Delray Beach. There's plenty for them to be doing. We do obviously talk about things like Murakami and Wakota and the marketplace if they live out in the West area. So depending on what the person is that walking in the door, they're trained to take care of that need. Now, in terms of who's walking in the door right now, we are getting more of an international traveler. Before the pandemic, we saw a lot of international people in the months of July, August, and September. So we are hopeful that we're going to now get those people back, and we are starting to see an influx of people from out of the country. One thing that put us on the map that was the most unbelievable marketing tool that we could have had is with the tennis community. The fact that Coco Golf lives in Delray Beach, and they have been following her for the last couple of years and have actually come in and done segments on her town and her family, was free marketing that we could only have asked for. So these are the kinds of gifts that we get, obviously, with all of the different celebrities and people that live here in town. That is a wonderful asset. Thank you.
Thank you, BJ. So Gus, you had your hand up. Did you want to ask a quick question?
Yes, and thank you so much, folks, and kudos to all that you guys are doing for the great city of Delray Beach. I'd just like to share very quickly about just what we're seeing with mobility and transportation world of Freebie. One of the things that we really pride ourselves in doing, in the service that we provide, is connecting both tourists and locals to the community, and with the concept of receiving a free ride to and from local businesses, the hope is that, hey, when that individual gets to that local business, they have a few extra dollars in their pocket that they are not having to use for parking or Ubers, and hopefully they are using that extra money to support a local business. But I will also just quickly share that we're seeing just an alarming spike in ridership, which is fantastic. Delray Beach is one of our most highly used service areas. Lots of folks, both international and national visitors, but then also the local residents who just want to get to the downtown Atlantic Ave area and circulate within that wonderful region. It's really nice to see that people are back out and about, and again, that's a testament to all the great work that all of the people on this call are doing, and just us at Freebie. We really are really thankful and appreciative to be a part of this great community. So thank you.
Thank you, Gus. So anybody else want to chime in before we wrap up? I see a couple of notes in here. Oh, written by me, of course. I just want to let you know that in September, our next roundtable, we're going to be hearing for Visit Florida and Discover the Palm Beaches to do a recap of summer. So fair warning to Gustav, I'm going to count on you, I think, for that. In December, we're going to hear from Florida Chamber, and they're going to talk about tourism and the business climate in general and what to expect in 2023. And everyone, please attend upcoming Art and Jazz, which is next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Where's that going to be, Laura?
Thank you, Stephanie. It is actually taking place on West Atlantic Avenue, just west of Swenton, so all the way to 6th Avenue. So we've got a huge lineup of entertainment and about 30 different artists and vendors going to be out there from the business neighborhood. So come out and have some fun. We've got the Big Bad Apples brass band as well as the Resolvers, which is a great
That's
reggae
huge.
band. So
That's huge. Everyone knows them. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Okay, everyone. Well,
Thank you.
thank you again to Laura and to Don and to Sarah Clyde from Hotels at Sea for being our sponsor. And thank you so much for your attention today, and we'll see you in September. We'll let you know the date soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.